What's up? We're in the next part. Please go check out the previous part to gauge your bearings. I'm busy explaining all of this nonsense that's slapping me upside the head. That like people are out here thinking that tunasira. Hey. People are out here thinking that tunasi right. We can treat Karabo like this or some other person walk next door like that. Because really they're not gonna miss anything if at all we speak to them like this. But y'all don't know, you know, when people are gifts to you and you act like a trashy little thing in their grill. Mudimo at least I pick it up. At least a dustbin collection. And then hola tuawena o la twa. I get the Lord will come and bring a dustbin collection company when you treat a person like trash. And he will just remove them from your ecosystem, seeing as you treated them like trash. And somewhere else they shall be what they were supposed to be. Because you are bari. I was speaking about the fruit of the Holy Spirit and how their talents, when you don't use your talents to honor society, to honor God, and so honoring society, the Lord will make out of you the bane of such society as that. He will make society just like you. He will make society consider you a wound. He will make society consider you something that's got to be cauterized, otherwise you will continue to bleed out. He will make the world feel as if though your demise is good riddance. And yet you out here vomiting abantu that are trying to tell you that that's a thing. All the best. So lang pinaka rubbish nonsense, do you? Marana haki so fetsu hubua. Love, peace, joy, gentleness. I've already made mention of peace and joy and gentleness, right? Kindness. Love, peace, joy, gentleness, kindness. Just being that smiling person in the Black community. Basic kindness, I can talk about this. It can have like a whole session, yok teta, yok toloka, yok communicator on its own. Ili wani plomile fena. Nga toloka kayo nak for 3 hours yo tlense ke rempa. Because kindness is something that I have lost from people. And abantu that stopped being kind to me, abanye of them, bomba, azene, bomba, azene, bomba, beste, chest vampo, heva tongel. Omugela wa mina is a please relax. Gaona motho mongwe mo ka kwene ga rona re tsene mo roomong re le babedi o tlo le bonang. Khayo omongo otole bonang, cause when I let me nice already bomba. And the only reason why I could ever be a bomba with any chick is cause she was so freaking sweet. And guys, I'm just gonna put it out there. So there's like a problem in the Black community, especially among them females, but guys too got this issue sometimes. Habaratani. Abathandana nabantu. Ukubologa ungaga yazintololo. I-friendship yakhona le. Ihe. Oh yazini batho why nna life nke sa charge phone ko tsena ke latlhegetswe ke content ntse ke le busy ke maswami. No, come on, just plug in. Is it charging? 45? Okay, yeah, it's 45% battery. That just told me guti iya charge D1. Yeah, Black chicks are mean, yo. I just put that out there. Black chicks are mean. Yeah. So they're mean, and I speak from experience because I is a Black girl, and I've been ollaring, like collecting and got a dustpan, basically mean girls all my life since I was in primary, guys. I am not lying. I don't know what it is about Black girls and just shade, lots of attitude, like from primary school. Maybe we think it's an admirable trait to emulate, given that we're always looking up to older girls, and so these young girls see their older sisters do it, and so they think that it's okay to do it to each other in schools. Ever since I was in primary school, maybe not creche, because I think in creche we were all just kind of sweet, but when I got to primary school, Black girls, guys, it was always just so terrible. It was always so terrible, like attitude, shade, like so much politics between like 10, 11, 12-year-olds. Like, what are you doing? You're so young. Anyway, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but remember I told you guys in the first part that some people are born inherently with certain character virtues from birth, like out of the sweet of the fruit of the Holy Spirit. We all are given from birth something that we have going down for ourselves automatically without being born again. Well, for me it was kindness. I've always been such a sweetie. It's just been it's a thing. I've always been the girl that smiles at every person coming their way, greets everybody. I don't pass anybody shade. I don't give no women no attitude. I just don't do it. It doesn't come naturally with me at all. At all. Yeah, but I mean, when you're that girl, it's very hard to go through life in the midst of black girls who don't have this naturally dwelling in them. Not all of them. Of course, not all of them. Otherwise, I would never have made friends. Yeah, black chicks are full of attitude. They have so much attitude. They're mean. They're cold. They don't greet. They don't look at other girls. Whenever you're looking at another black girl in the queue at Discam, she thinks you're scanning her competitively instead of you just kind of smiling because you recognize a sister. And so instead of smiling back, she will just look away like, oh yeah, keep staring, keep looking because I'm fabulous. That's black girls. They walk like that automatically. And it's been like that based on an observation that I've made since I was in primary school. Yeah, it's been like that for very long, and I got to a point where I just accepted it. It became very hard to make friends as a result. The only way that I could ever make friends, because I guess it comes as well with being naturally intelligent, very smart people. I'm not trying to toot my horn, but like, it's a reality. I'm smart. They tend to struggle with sarcasm. They tend to struggle with hints. Like, we're straightforward. And yeah, like, black is black, white is white, and you expect the person to be you basically read people's body language and you literally interpret it. And so an unkind person you regard as hang badly from a bar of soap. She doesn't like me, and so you just let them go. I often wonder how women make friends with each other, and how easily they make friends with each other has always puzzled me, because they all start out so mean towards each other and then like 2 weeks later they're friends. And for me, it's like, how did you get that right? So the only way that I've ever made friends all throughout my life has been if I was put in the same environment with them for an extended period of time. And so I got to experience kindness from them, like if they were in my class, like if they, so therefore all year and every week, all day, I was in the presence of these girls, and until eventually we became friends. That's how I became friends. Or if we attended, I made mention of the same classes, but also being introduced to them through other women. Like, that's actually how I made all my friends at Wits. I met them through other of my friends from high school, like friends that I had already in high school that made friends at Wits. I then became friends with those friends. There were other friends that I did meet by myself, but they were a small number because black girls are generally very mean. They are generally very cold, and when a person is cold, that's how I am. I'm an INFJ in terms of my personality. If I feel like you don't like me or don't want me, I will not encroach on your space. I won't insist on it. I'm not gonna push it. But black girls, they just drive. They swim through the mud of that attitude and somehow befriend each other anyway. Yeah, they do that. They swim through that mud, and I can't swim through the mud because the mud for me is a sign, a big fat repellent that tells me this chick doesn't want to hang. So I don't try. The only thing that makes me try with women, the only thing that makes me continue to talk with them, the only thing that makes me continue to basically try and foster a friendship is if from the very beginning, from the very get-go, they're smiling, they're sweet. Hi, I'm Lerato. Hi Lerato, I'm Karabo. That's the only thing that's ever worked to cause me to make friends. And it is such a small number of women that I have had that experience with in my life, that literally almost 80% of my friends, I met them through either school, because I was in the same class with them, and we were the only black girls in the class, so we all became friends, kankani. Or I got introduced to them by other people, but friends that I met by myself, like people that I just went out there in the sky, flew, and then they became my friends. Rare, small number, because black girls are mean. Black girls are mean. Everybody else, they were imposed on me by relationship. Even in the collegial space, like at work, I became closest with certain colleagues because they were in my team. I was always seeing them, so I was always having to talk with them, and ultimately they, I guess, developed a liking towards me, and we all just went into the sunset together. But if I had met them ngaphandle, ngapaya, rafitana komolong yo nerutofitana first stop because labantu ababugani. Black girls don't look at each other. They are going out of their way to basically not try to toot each other's horns. So I guess the rest of y'all are stronger than me, and never mind strong, but you're better at picking up that this is a game of spawning or reverse psychology. Look, I don't do well with sarcasm or reverse psychology, like basically just acting like who it is that you're not, or pretending that you want something that you don't want. I don't respond well to that. That is also one of the biggest reasons why I ended up with my ex-boyfriend, because unlike all these other guys all over the show, he was literal too. He wore his heart on his sleeve, and he was not working in reverse psychology. Plus he was kind, he was sweet. I don't react well to people who pass me shade, trying to make me feel as if though I'm nothing just so I can want them. Like, it's called reverse psychology, where you ziba a person, you pretend you're doing another thing when you're actually looking at them. Like, it's a bit wrong. How am I supposed to know? Oh, I'm not feeling well, man. I'm still so sick. I'm so under a lot of attack right now. Anyway, whatever. Like, how in the world and the heaven am I supposed to know? How am I supposed to know that you like me? So a lot of women I never ever developed friendships with in my life, only because, but you were so cold, girl. You were mean. Unoleso. Yeah, anywho, now that you have heard that particular explanation, kindness was therefore it came naturally in me by the grace of God. Other things not so much. I told you I wasn't that gentle, but I was definitely kind. And I expected kindness in order for me to be able to foster any friendships with people. So I have spent a fair share of my time just being a lone ranger in this world, without any friends, eating lunch in a school in the bathroom. Yeah, proper, because I just could not break past the attitude I was being given by girls, thinking they don't like me, until I guess for a very long amount of time I ultimately just I had to do a homework assignment with them. I had to like sit with them in class. The teacher sat us next to each other, so we could do nothing but talk to each other, and then we're friends, and now we're hanging out together type thing. Yeah, that's one of the biggest ways that I made friends. But black girls have attitude. They're mean to each other, and sometimes they mean even once they're your friends. Like, you out here hanging out in the same circles, and they still passing you shade sometimes. They're still giving you grief sometimes. They still, and so I spent my life in some kind of a wilderness of darkness, a poofy cloud that I didn't understand when it came to friends all throughout my life. It's been inconsistent and fluffy and lacking solidness. Yeah, but let me just put that out there. But the only times when I had very strong friendships was the women that I met that were like me. The women that were like me, in other words, they were kind, they were sweet from the get-go, they were nice, they did not give attitude. They were, babang, like I said, majority of black girls were snacks. But the few that I met that weren't snarks, I always ended up really tight with. I always ended up close with. Really close. Like, because I was able to warm up, open dialogue. And then we would talk and get bosom butterfied. Bomba. That's why I get like a bomba. Yeah. They ended up being the bomba pestetaka in this world. And hababangada, I think I can even count them on my one hand. These bomba-fied chicks. And they were sweet from the get-go. And they stayed sweet. One chick, I was in a group hosting program at MTN. Something that they recruited chicks in the building that they thought could represent South Africa during the World Cup. Okay. So yeah, it was an aesthetic thing. It was aesthetics. It was about how you looked, and they recruited a whole bunch of what would be the tenement of little beauty queens walking around the building in the office at MTN to be part of this group hosting program, because we were supposed to host clients, international people coming to watch the Soccer World Cup. You know how MTN hosted it? And I was scouted in the bathrooms one time at work by this one colored chick who was like, don't you want to join the program? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then my boss approved it type thing. And so I was basically like, I don't even know what it's like at pageants, like, it's probably such a mess there, such a total mess. The way that chicks probably are just like always just spawning and trying to see who's better than whatnot. But it was the closest thing I've gotten to a pageant environment. Like, it was the closest thing I've ever gotten to a pageant environment. There was just so much competitiveness. There were all these beautiful girls that worked for the company, these beautiful young women, and all of them were like scanning each other up and down, trying to be like, yeah, look, no, it's not the closest thing I've ever been to a pageant environment. I've actually been in a competition before of that nature for modeling. when I was like just out of I was still in high school actually. I was 17. I was 17, I remember, yeah. Because the dude was there that was like, "So John, represent!" Yeah, type thing. Some competition at Rosebank that I got shortlisted for and we had to go to Sun City. It was for modeling, okay? And when I was there, yo, guys, you couldn't, it was terrible. Like a pageant environment. Chicks are so competitive. Like attitude, like with chicks like Abonontle, Tema were there. And like all these like historically gorgeous girls of back in the day, they were there. I wouldn't even be surprised if Uminentle Lamine was there, type thing. Yeah, just Tina, like chicks like, yeah, anyway, yeah. Nontle ain't no hate and whatnot, but she was like a typical black girl, like attitude, like fit the first stop, does not greet. And I was like, you. And that was even before she became anything. Before she became big, before she became the Nontle Tema that everybody knew. That was more or less, I think, her starting point. Nakala. Herself. And I tried to make friends out of such people as these. And if I did not go there with my cousin, because my cousin accompanied me, I would not have had friends the whole weekend, because it was like a whole weekend thing, a stay, like go Sun City for the weekend. Naked still alien by myself, because all these girls were giving such hard knock pageant vibes. And I found myself in a similar environment a couple of years down the line at MTN in this like group hosting program on the day when we were meeting at the Radisson Blue Hotel. Balore brief, and also for us to start working, us get into uniforms, put uniforms on our bodies, batung fittings and what have you. And yeah, there were a couple of like, kind chicks there. Largely they were not black. They were Indian, white, yeah. But when it comes to black girls, clicking. Was it clicking? The ones that knew each other indeed hung out with each other, like from the office, because they were all part of marketing or whatever. But I came from a non-marketing department, and I was just sticking out like a sore thumb. I hung out like one day, all day with this one Indian chick, and she was good people's because she was like kind and open and what have you. But when it came to hanging out with the black girls, guys, I didn't know anybody, and everybody was trying to like, basically it was just competitive, so competitive. Ingati, we were like all just vying for Miss MTN, except guys, we're hosting Lana. This is not even a competition. It's like in hospitality, hostessing. That's what this is. Be nice. Mara, no such thing. But there was one girl that made my life so easy in that whole program. One girl, a black chick, and she and I became boomba later on. I'm telling a story, so we're gonna get to the point ultimately. There was one girl that saw me, and she was kind, and she smiled, and one time, and she greeted, and I greeted her back. "Hi, how's it? I'm good, I'm Karabo." And then one time they put us in the same group to hand out tickets to people going to a match. And on that day, she followed me around like a tail. She was just there sticking by me basically on some, "So what are you doing? What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, this chick is so cool." And we became so tight afterwards. So tight, like very quickly. We developed a very strong bond very fast, to a point of sleeping at each other's houses, meeting each other's people, meeting her cousins. She met my boyfriend. What a fish paste. We became like bosom buddies. Chippies, bubblegum. Chippies, bubblegum. We became really, really sticky towards each other, and it was through this chick. We were so tight that we even ended up going to matches together where we would be allowed to go together. Yeah, planning the itinerary around all that. Yeah, because of this chick, I then got to but be a little bit more comfortable around all the other black girls. I told you the only way that I made friends was either if a girl was kind to me enough for me to open up and warm up, and then we become tight, or if she introduces me to her friends. So I got introduced to some people in marketing through her. Yeah, and that's how the rest of that program was made. I had a little bit of leg room. I was able to be a little bit easier, more going. Chicks that initially gave me attitude, ultimately, because I was walking around with their friend, and it was like, "Hi Karabo now, hi Karabo." Mara initially, queenly, like noses in the sky type setup thing. So kindness does not come very easily in black girls. That much is a given. They don't automatically operate in it. They're not sweet, they're not warm, they're not open, they don't have that body language that says you can talk to me even in the slightest. They pass each other's shade, all that. And the few girls that I did find that were like this, I got tight with. But that very one That chick that everybody loves because, you know, she was a joy giver too. Everybody loves because she's really sweet, very kind, open and warm to everybody. She knew she had a way with people. She had a way with people, and she of course then had a way with me. We became tight to it, like we started hanging out, going partying together and all that jazz. We got tight real fast. Yeah. Type establishment thing. Yeah, no, that's the thing. You see, that was her gift. That was her gift. Her gift, God used her, I guess, that season during the group hosting program to help me be more situated, more comfortable, more at ease in an environment of pageant girls, like beauty queens all over the show that are looking at me on some Hlongwane type thing. She made my experience throughout that program a lot easier. We stayed really tight even afterwards. After the World Cup ended and everything, we still stayed like tight and what have you. That was a talent that she had. It was a gift. It was a gift that she had. She was kind. She was sweet. And she warmed up a woman's experience in a program. She warmed up my experiences in that establishment. When everything was frosty cold, she made it warm. Get gift, get talent. But she turned on me cold. You're as cold as ice. You're willing to sacrifice. What made her cold? Witchcraft. She turned to the darkness. She turned to the darkness. And so she stopped being kind. She started being one of those. Passing you shade, not looking at you. Walking right by you. That's a demon that lodged. That's a demon that changed a person's personality. That which you don't have, even it will be taken away from you. That's what that parable of the talents says. That which the Lord will take away, even that which you don't have. But of course, he's also going to take away your one talent and give it to the person with the 5 talents. And that chick went and dabbled, messed with our friendship. Oh, I lost. That chick came against my career and marriage prospects and my thing with that. Like, first of all, she went really cold towards me before I even understood. The group hosting program at MTN happened, I guess, during the World Cup, which was 2010. I got born again the very next year. I got born again in 2011. I was dating my ex at the time when I met this chick. We were so tight that my ex even made a joke saying that lesbian affair, are you cheating on me with this friend of yours type thing. And I was like, babe, come on, you're speaking rubbish, like relax type thing. That's how close we were. We were that tight to a point of being accused of not accused per se. He was making a joke. He knew it wasn't happening, but we were close. Okay. And this friend that I was that close with, that I was that tight with, went so awry on me in a matter of months. The next year, I would get born again. I was investigating the things of God. I would meet somebody that would sort of kind of low-key give me the gospel, etc., whatever. It was like a whole journey. Yeah, in 2011 was when I got saved, and this chick, around the same time that I got saved, more or less, she then cast spells on me. She changed on me. We were tight and good maybe for like 6 months. Afterwards, she went awry, and I remember wondering why. What did I do? Like, what did I do? One day I saw her in the coffee shop because, you know, we met at work. It was a work thing that was being done there, and I tried to greet her the way that I loved her like so much. We were so tight. She was with her HR colleagues. At the time she was working for HR. She eventually moved over to marketing. She was with her HR colleagues, and like here it is that she was with 2 other women, sorry, so it was the 3 of them. And she saw me, and then as I was like about to greet and what have you, she then looked right back and chatted with these women, and I did her dirty. Boyfriend. Like, she just treated me so bad. I didn't understand. I could not understand what was going on. I couldn't get it. I couldn't understand. Oh my goodness, I couldn't understand it. Anyway, to a certain extent, you know, the Lord showed me that there's a woman that slept with my man, like a chick that my ex cheated on me with, and sometimes I think it's her because her change was just so like overnight. And that's what happens when you stab a friend in the back like that, and the guy that you slept with then like basically tosses you like trash after he bottles you on some goodness. You're such a whack woman that you were willing to sleep with your girl's man. And so upon being treated like a harlot, she then decided to go all animositized against me. I don't know. Look, I'm speculating because the Lord showed me that one of my friends slept with my ex. I don't know which one. But whenever I speculate, at the top of my mind, 2 women come to mind. And it's always her and then some other chick. Type establishment thing. So maybe this chick slept with my man. I don't know. But her change was overnight. And the reason why she did witchcraft on me, I also don't understand. Why was it just jealousy, or was it because you slept with my boyfriend and you felt like trash afterwards, and so you just wanted to destroy me? I don't know. I could say because she and I were very similar. Now, the only reason why I would have suspected that chick is because one, she was very heavily flirtatious, even with other people's men. She had this thing about conquering other women. And thirdly, tall, dark, slender, looking like a model. And I had only 2 friends, that not 3, but the other one nearly yellow bone, but the other 2, yeah, that looked like me more or less, type establishment thing. And so I just imagined that maybe my ex and Jeffela, like, I don't know, that chick was a seductress like no man's business. She looked like me. We looked like each other as friends. I guess maybe that's even the reason why we got along so well. So maybe my ex-boyfriend slept with her because you look like my ex, but I don't know. Look, I don't know. This chick changed on me, even though we were very tight. And I don't know what would cause a person to become that mean overnight. Maybe not. Look, maybe I'm at this point. I admit to perhaps I'm just accusing, but I was certainly told by God that my ex did sleep with one of my friends. I don't know which one. But she definitely did act a fool at some point. But then again, so did everybody that ultimately bewitched the living daylights out of me now. But they also acted quite the violent fool against me. So I can't really say that it all had to do with them sleeping with my man. That guy had to be ditched, but so too did some females. But that chick, she lost her kindness, the sweetness, the thing that made her favorable. In my eyes, it dwindled, and she kept on trying to come back to me, and every time she would come back, I would accommodate her coming back because I liked her that much. But I couldn't understand why she kept on breaking away. And then once I got born again, the Lord then showed me I kept on dreaming about her so very much, so very much. And in the dreams that I had, there was always a guy, like a boyfriend of mine from long ago, some ex-boyfriend of mine was always in my dreams with her. So I feel like she's the one that slept with my man, but I don't know. Angazi. And if that happened, betrayal gaga. That chick. Yes, like it. I would later, after I got born again in Christ, date a dude that worked for MTN. That's why I suspect her. So you can understand why I've reached these conclusions. I dated a guy when I got saved that he called himself a Christian. He was professing. Okay? And I dated him very briefly for like 2 months. He worked for MTN in marketing. He knew her. And one time she saw me walking out of the office building with this guy. We weren't holding hands or whatever. We did not hint. It's not like we were looking like a couple. We were dating, but we were just walking out together. We were not walking out looking like a couple. We just looked like colleagues walking out of the building together. And this chick saw me walking out of the building with my boyfriend. I dated him for like 5 seconds. She saw me walking out with him, even though we were not acting lovey-dovey at all. We looked like colleagues. And this chick was my friend, and the both of us greeted her. Hi. Let's say her name was Naledi. Hi, Naledi. Hi, Naledi. Both of us greet her. Hi, Naledi. He's like, hi, Naledi. I'm like, hi, Naledi. And we go. That was on a Friday. It was on a Friday. On Sunday, I meet up with... What happened? Was it Sunday? I meet up with my boyfriend, right? Yeah, on the Sunday, I meet up with my boyfriend. Was it the Sunday or the Monday when he told me this? No. Were we together? No, it was on... Yeah, okay, so I used to spend my time with this guy at his apartment. Something that was problematic for me. That's why God broke us up. There was just a lot of lust, a lot of random bad stuff that was going on. Lapaya, I nearly fell into sexual sin. So because I had already allowed myself to spend time at his place where he stayed. This guy, which was not far from where it is that I worked. He could walk to work, all right? He worked very close to MTN type establishment thing. Yeah, this guy, I went to go see him. And on the day after church, like it was a Sunday after church, I go see him, right? And as soon as I walk in to his apartment, as soon as I walk in, he then tells me Naledi was here yesterday. Naledi came here yesterday. Not yesterday, but no. Yesterday. Basically what my boyfriend at the time told me, this guy that I dated for like 2 months that also used to work for MTN, he said to me, Naledi came to my apartment. Naledi had slept with his friend. Like this guy that I dated at MTN had a friend at MTN as well that Unanale and whatnot. And one time they all went out for drinks with Naledi, and Naledi slept with the guy, with his friend. So Utsaban Naledi from that time, Utsaban Naledi have as a woman that was prepared to have a one-night stand with a colleague after they all decided to go for drinks after work. And so he did not have a very high opinion of her. He did not have a very high opinion of Naledi, right? This guy, he just thought of her as kind of like a loose cannon. If anything, the two of them thought of her as a loose cannon, which she wasn't really, because Frankly, I knew the history. When I met Naledi, she was still a virgin, for crying out loud. She was still a virgin, and then she broke her virginity with some boyfriend that she really loved. That relationship did not work out, and after that, it's like she just allowed herself to get used by guys because she had not developed or established a sexual protocol as to how to be when you are sexually active. When you break your virginity that late in life, like in your 20s, like women in the world consider that late. Hey, sometimes, man, you don't really know what's laws and what's not. So she just, I believe, let herself go until, man, the reason why I suspect Naledi for having slept with my boyfriend is because of the fact that she tried to seduce my other boyfriend. Like, my ex of 5 years knew Naledi. We met when we were still together in 2010. That's when I met Naledi. And then here it is now that it's like, 2013? Because I dated this guy 2 years into my faith. It's now 2013. Yeah, 2013-ish type establishment thing. Yeah, 2013, this chick still works for the organization. I'm still working for the organization that is MTN. I start dating a guy that works for my company that I think is Christian type thing. We dated for like 2 months, and in that time, one time when we were leaving the building together, the office building together, Naledi saw us. Naledi worked in marketing with this guy. She greeted him. We both greeted her because I knew her from, I guess, that time, and he knew her because he colleague type establishment thing, plus also all these stories. So this guy told me that Naledi had slept with his boy, and for me it was like, why is she doing this? You know, because I remember that she broke her virginity like just the other day with a boyfriend. In other words, she was already in her 20s, right? When I met her, she, like I said, she was still a virgin, and shortly afterwards she broke her virginity with some guy that she was on and off with since high school. And then, yeah, anyway, whatever. That was what was happening with Naledi. Naledi, I believe, then went on a tangent and became a loose cannon. Frankly, after her virginity was broken, I think that guy played her dirty like no man's business, that she was in love with from school. And so she did not know whether she was coming or going. And I do also believe that the reason why she held on to her virginity was because of Jesus. She was one of those raised in a Christian home, I believe, but then was not very godly. She was just running with rules. And somewhere along the way, she was like, I still got these rules. They're making my life hard. Yeah, I bet she is in so much regret now when she listens to me, if at all she checks out any of my content, which I doubt, because witches tend to be very kind of obsessed with their victims. Anyway, whatever. So Naledi sees me with this guy, and then my ex-boyfriend at the time, the boyfriend guy that I was dating at the time, after church on Sunday, I go see him at his place, and as soon as I walk in, he then, I guess, tells me, Naledi was here yesterday. Utlile. Because I, like, in the morning I hear a buzzer, somebody's calling me on my phone, I answer the phone and it's her, and she's like, no, I'm outside, I just wanted to say hi, I wanted to just clock in to see what's going on. And this dude is like, good night, was saying, it's like 9 in the morning, and like he has just brushed his teeth, and it's Saturday, good chill, he's not expecting anybody, and this chick rocks up at his house, good night, Hussein, kidding, and she's like, hey, I'm here to just, holla, what's going on over there? And according to my boyfriend at the time, he was like, this chick was flirting hard with me. It's like she wanted to seduce me. And I think it has something to do with the fact that she saw me with you yesterday. She came here and she, like, it was hard for me to, like, ward her off or say, yo, like, I can't, yeah, because, like, besides, you've been with my boy and we're not doing this type thing. But she literally came onto me. She came to my apartment, and I'm asking myself, yo, like, I'm practically in my pajamas and you're in my house. And he was like, I have a feeling that's the reason why she came here to see me and spent, like, she was here for like an hour. I think it's because she saw me with you, and I just felt like I had to tell you because something felt malicious about her, and I don't want rumors spreading all over the show. I don't want it basically coming between us. I don't want you hearing this from anybody else. That's what he was telling me. He was like, I don't want you hearing this from anybody else, so I'm gonna tell you. Your friend, my colleague, was here yesterday. She was all up in my house, and she was all up in, clearly trying to seduce me. She was walking around in the ways so as to suggest that if I were to pounce on her, if I were to try and stroke her, if I were to basically be like a typical guy, she was gonna let me, like, hit that. She was gonna let me hit that. Yeah, when I heard this, I was like, yo, that's what I said. I was like, yo. And by then, me and this girl were not, like, tight anymore. We were just, we greeted each other when we saw each other in the corridors type thing. It's not like we had a falling out where Harassing or whatever. But for me, it was like, I guess she's that betraying girl. I don't know what's going on with her. So just the fact that this chick suspected that I was dating that guy She then goes and visits him Kontunya High. She knew where he stayed because, like I said, they hung out once upon a time, go fella, at his like after some work function, and then she ended up sleeping with his boy, and I don't know where that happened. Was it at his house? That guy was compromised. I should have known when he told me stories like those. On some like, why are you allowing secular people to fornicate in your house type thing? Yeah, whatever. But this chick knew where this dude stayed. And for me, there were a lot of alarm bells with this guy, a lot of sirens ringing. That ought to have been one of them. But he saw it fit to tell me that your Benji or former Benji was at my house trying to seduce me. And I don't want you hearing this from anybody else, lest you should think, Uguti, I'm out here playing you with some chicks in marketing. Like, that's not what's going on. Anyway, whatever. When I heard that, I was like, yo. And then years down the line, the Lord then tells me, your ex-boyfriend, the one 5 years, there's a friend of yours that he slept with. And that's why Naledi comes uppermost in my mind. On some, maybe it's Naledi, because Naledi has seduced one of my boyfriends before. She literally has. She went and seduced him because she suspected that we were dating. And then trying to break my heart. Like she always has been, just breaking my heart. So my ex knows who he slept with out of my friends. Who has? What? Ex-boyfriend out of Badichomizaka. And like I said, Naledi is the only one that acted a fool, and also that has got a history of pulling stunts like those. But that same Naledi, yeah, she was so sweet when we first met. She was so sweet. She became monstrous. She became menacing. Something changed her. That's what happens when you dabble with witchcraft. She was kind. She was one of the girls that I could get along with like a house on fire from the get-go, seeing as I struggle so much with women because I'm mean. But she wasn't one of them. But then she became mean, so mean that she was out there trying to sleep with my man, maybe my second guy that I'm with. Ultimately she ransacked my career. So I don't know what's going on with Naledi today, but I'm using that to help you understand, Uguti, when you bury your talents in the ground, whatever it is that is your original gifting, when you've got a thing about people, when you're good nabantu, I know Usomandla is gonna take even that away. Whatever you don't have, uzwe tata, even that which you don't have, uzwe tata. So you're also going to develop character flaws that you never used to have, over and above losing the virtues that you had. You will develop new vices and you will lose existing virtues. Naledi lost hers to a point of Archer trying to literally sleep with men that with the woman that yeah, guys, I don't know what caused that girl to turn against me like that. But yeah, when you sleep with your girl's man, and then that man treats you like you're trash, the scum of the earth, some harlot afterwards, of course you're gonna hate your girl. Of course you're gonna hate her. Of course you're gonna hate her. So that's why Kimosola, because she did a 180 on me in the worst way. Anyway, whatever. Maybe it's not the truth. I don't know. But what I know for a fact is that somebody out of my girlfriend crew, that much I know. Okay, cool. Moving on. Type establishment thing. That was kindness. That's the virtue of kindness. I have seen so many people lose their kindness. My mom is one of them. Naledi is another. I had another friend, like literally all these women that I was bomba with, like as in very tight, really, really tight. Like I told you with Naledi, we were so tight that my ex even made a joke that ninang feeling ati ningama lesbian, the way you guys are so close with each other. And then that is lost. All of them, not all, a lot of these women that I was very tight with, they changed and became extremely mean. They became like all these other typical black chicks all over the show. And move on. Sometimes even pretending that they don't see you. Walking right by you like you ain't Jack. Ingatu cellophane, entirely invisible. Yeah, that is something that happened way too many times for me to comfortably just take in my stride. Yeah, when you have got character flaws that are that monumental, when historically you did not have them, you've lost talents, you've lost gifts, you have ceased to be a steward of that which God has put inside you. And so for those reasons, and the thing you angamhlanje is barely recognizable. It's impossible now for people to believe anybody when they speak stories about your past because of the way Uchenchilenga thing, because of witchcraft. There was a woman like that at MTN, an Indian lady, Inele boss lady. She was a senior manager. She was so beautiful that you did not expect somebody to be that mean. But apparently, allegedly, she used to be one of the sweetest little girls in the ecosystem. And then one day she became like incredibly darkened. And that Indian woman was one of the people that cast spells on me, that was my colleague. But it wasn't just me. She was busy with a whole bunch of colleagues. Anybody that she imagined was a threat. Yeah, and I was one of the people about Lusizing. Yeah, I had a dream about her afflicting me in some dingy dark house, and she kept on perusing everything that I had and knocking it down. I was like, hey, I've heard stories in the grapevine, they're in marketing, that you used to be such a darling. Yeah, I can't see that. You're like super mean today. I can't see that. Like when I first met her, she was so beautiful. You know, when people are beautiful, you expect them to be sweet. This chick was just so mean that it just dwindled, it faded because of how cold she was. And then I saw the witchcraft, and that sorcery can explain that character transformation. That sorcery can explain the change in personality in that woman. She did whatever it took to get ahead, and she knocked anybody that she wanted to knock out the way, such that kindness just did not come easily to her. She lost virtue and developed vices that she didn't even have, because even that which she did not have, she lost it. Parable of the talents. There are so many other stories that I can give you, but really we've still got the rest of the fruit to go through. So love, peace, gentleness, kindness, goodness. That's just a good guy or a good girl. I told you guys about my ex-boyfriend, how it is that he was such a great guy. He was such a great guy. He was like decent. He wasn't perverted like a lot of guys. When you kiss a guy for the first time, he's out there groping your breasts, groping your thighs. He's like literally trying to put you in bed type thing, trying to unzip your pants and lift your skirt and remove. Men busy. My ex-boyfriend, the first time we kissed, he kept his hands on my shoulders because he did not want to offend me and be a total jerk. Until busy groping places I'm not ready to be touched type establishment thing. Yeah, that's a good guy right there. Like when goodness comes naturally with you, even though you're yet to be born again. You are born automatically with like a whole bunch of manners. You know how to treat a woman. It just occurs to you naturally to be, you know, understanding and gentle and all that jazz. And then you go and you dabble with sorcery. Now you that dude that's out here flirting with your colleagues. You out here like sending sexual innuendo in the direction of your colleagues to a point where HR complains, when once before you were the dude that when you kissed your girlfriend the first time you guys kissed, you were so decent that you kept your hands on her shoulders so as to not meander to other parts of the body. But now today you that like office pervert. Now today you that office pervert. That's what sin does over time. You become darkened. You become into that you never were. The decency you once wore is eradicated. You are dark and aggressive and maybe even vitriolic and full of baby tongue, this thing. Like you've got passive aggression, maybe even just total aggression without even it being passive, because you allowed yourself danglwa as a puppet on a string. Kidiklar. Demons don't just rock up and hang out and chill and, set out a dining table and just mind their own business. When they come in your body, they actually change you. So you can't expect to dabble with sorcery and not become a mean girl when you were once the sweet one. You can't dabble with sorcery and expect that your decency as a man, where you don't force women to have sex or where you don't get irritated because they don't want to have sex, that's going to stick around when then you do spells like Karabo. Things like bring back lost lover. Those are lust spells. They are sexual aggression spells. They are be with me or else spells. You can't have that entity operate on your behalf and then not take the guy that basically makes sure that he does not disrespect his woman's boundaries by kissing with his hands far away from other body parts. You can't stay that guy when you are busy with bring back lost lover, when you're busy with Korobela. Now, because both spells are sexually perverse, they bring a love interest into your life when they would not have chosen you. It's a form of rape. I can't say that enough. So you can't do a rape spell and stay decent and stay the guy that's not going to get irritated when a woman doesn't want to have sex, and stay the guy that will still drive a woman home and leave her at the doorstep making sure she's in and safe on the night when she would not have sex with you. Like there's a dude that once picked me up at my place and go high where I stayed with my mom, and we hung out at his apartment. I didn't even understand why he brought me to his apartment, and he tried to kiss me and I wouldn't. Within 15 minutes he had called for me a maxi taxi and Uber to go home. He wouldn't even drive me home himself. He was decent enough to at least pay for that Uber or that maxi taxi, but he didn't want anything to do with me after that because I wouldn't even kiss him. It's like, why in the world under heaven are you bringing me to your apartment on a first date? I'm not that girl. I'm not that girl, for crying out loud. Yeah, that's a person, that's a character flaw, right? He was not a rapist, so he did not force himself onto me, but he was so irritated that he just sent me home. It hurt, but at least I was grateful that at least ang siya ko strating, because there's a man that once left me ko strating because I wouldn't have sex with him. Ang siya ko strating. I begged him to rather drop me off ko Sandton Mall. Horekis ka banje fell in the middle of Sandton, gathering dust. I ended up calling a guy friend that I had that was hollering at me, shellering. That where I used to work at Rosebank, he had a crush on me, and one time he was like, if I give him my number, he will buy me two trucker caps. Back in the day, trucker caps were very popular. It was during that music video, yeah, Pharrell. You should stop running, babe. I know you're still there. You know that ting. You know that music video where it is that Lauren London. Is it Lauren London? Yeah, with that other black beautiful girl, that model chick. Both of them are wearing trucker caps. And that whole music video of Pharrell made trucker caps so popular in the world that I wanted one. So this dude was like, he was prepared to buy me trucker caps if I gave him my number. So I gave him my number in exchange for some trucker caps. And he was still trying to holla. He met me when I was working as a casual. Rosebank. I was working in some store in Rosebank while I was also a student at Wits University, and this guy that was like big for my number. I gave it to him. He would call me and be like, oh, don't you want to go out on a date with me? Don't you want to go? He was like some cheese boy, wealthy dude. Onadulako Santon. He was like the son of some politician in the country. I didn't like him, I didn't want him, but he was sweet, so I would humor his calls and whatnot, and I would sometimes talk with him as I'm having dinner, etc. I was not trying to be with him because I didn't like him, and he was cool with it. Well, the trucker cab guy, if he did not like insist on getting my number through an exchange, a mutual exchange where I got trucker caps for free, if I gave him my number, I would have been stranded and slept on a bench, Gopila Santon Library overnight, because this guy, I sent him something like 5 please call me's. He responds, and then because he lived in the Sandton area and he didn't even have his own car, but he was a rich kid, he had a driver, for crying out loud. He came there with his driver and they took me home all the way to Rediput, and he was just such a decent guy. And Kisa Hai, that guy, that is decency, right? That is the kind of activity that dwells naturally in people. He was a rich kid, but he wasn't pompous, arrogant, and also he wasn't entitled. He dropped me off at home, comforted me, told me it's okay, I'm sorry about what happened, but what left me stranded in Sandton, Busihu, was because some random dude that I was prepared to date, that I later came to suspect was actually married, because he didn't even want to take me to Madulang Deng. He wanted to book me into a hotel, and I'm like, it's a first date, I haven't even eaten. I actually like starved myself all day for this date, for crying out loud. You were supposed to take me somewhere loja, and here it is that this dude is out there trying to get me to sleep with him in some guy's house, and then book into a hotel when it was discovered that that guy's wife was home. Hey Batung, hey, I've been put through stuff, and I was like, I'm not having sex with you. I understand that, like, this is the first time that we go on a date ever since we've been speaking all week long. Why? And then he said, I can't take you home. Went home. The friend then agreed to take me home. Kante, that friend took a detour trying to go to Alex. Now to go and have sex with me, Alex, somewhere. Yazi, I told him out of this car on the highway, and I'm going to scream, yell, flail, and yell. You will be uzoboshwa boy for attempted murder or something, because there's no way that you're gonna go and rape me, Alex Agnes by. And then he was like, oh well, I can't take you to Rodipot, it's too far. Hey, at the time I used to stay in Florida. I was like, fine, just take me to Sandton City then. Just take me to Sandton City. So yeah, he at least agreed to take me to Sandton City. Go Sandton, please call say 20 million. This guy takes them. I cry like a baby. I was like, I've been abandoned. These stupid guys. He was like, well, relax, where are you? I was like, I'm in Sandton by the library. He then rocks up. And then I'm all rescued, right? He then drives me home, and like one yegela, like not even tried to like, you know, force that, because he was hollering at me. He was trying to get with me. He liked me. Crash. He did not try and foster on someone. Since I picked you up, there's gotta be something in it for me. He helped me, that night, and so it displayed ukuthi bakhona abantu ngaphandle laphaya that are decent. That's what's going on. I'm a daughter that are decent, and this dude was so young. He was a kid. He was like 1983. He was 1 year older than me. The guy I was really busy with, I think he could have been like maybe 4 or 5 years older than me. I wanted an older guy. That's what an older guy did. That was before I met my ex-boyfriend. I've been through a lot. Like I said, it was first year varsity. I met my ex when I was like 22. Anyhow, so I was basically 19 that year. A married man, obadla holonga a cheeky type establishment thing. So I've been ditched. I've been dumped because I didn't want to sleep with a guy. What I'm trying to get at in explaining all of these random stories and experiences that I have had, what I'm trying to explain to you guys is that you will move from being the guy that picked me up at Santon with his driver, the rich kid. If at all you do witchcraft, you will go from being like the rich kid to being like the guy who lied to me that he was married, and that's why he wanted to like shack me up in a hotel. And then when I didn't want to be with him, his friend tried to like sleep with me, and when I didn't want to do that, I was ditched in Santon to basically just rot and die overnight. Yeah, you graduate to becoming that. You become the guy that ditches a woman because she won't sleep with you. You become the guy that abandons a woman because she won't sleep with you. You leave her high and dry, far away from home, in the pitch of night, endangering her life because she would not go home with you. You go from being the decent guy that will pick up a woman, drive out of your own comfort zone, Guinea, and drive her to the opposite side of the city, drop her off, hug her, tell her it's okay, you'll be fine, I'm sorry about what happened to you, leave her, and then go home. When you get home, are you okay? Are you well? Don't worry, you're safe. At least now nothing happened. Just relax. Right type thing. You go from being that decent guy to being the attempted rapist that because you failed at your job, you ditch a woman high and dry in the middle of Santon. So if you use Ikorobela, if you use bring back lost lover, when you use spells, sorcery, you do stuff like this to a woman. She doesn't want to be with you. Bring back lost lover is be with me or else. She doesn't want to be with you. She doesn't want to come back. So you what? Leave her. You abandon and you ditch her. My ex-boyfriend became like the monsters. My ex-boyfriend was initially like the first guy that I described that picked me up, even though there was nothing in it for him, and took me home. And then he graduated because of sorcery. 2, the monsters that ditched me go Santon, that tried to like proper, like when the one guy gave up, his friend then decided to go, I'm gonna do this. That's what's good. Because my ex-boyfriend tried to come back into my life. Got bring back lost lover. Guess what I'm saying? He tried to come back and bring back lost lover. And then I was like, Angis bye. I don't want to be with you. And then he cast all these other spells on me to be abandoned. Nobody's going to love me. Nobody's going to pick me up. Nobody is going to come for me. Nobody is going to come for me. He literally like graduated himself. He matriculated himself into the bad guy. Because witchcraft changes people's characters. It starts you out as you start out prior to it as the good dude, and you end up as the ugly thing. It changes characters. It changes personalities. And so seeing that it changes my personality, why under heaven is anybody even interested in doing that stuff at all? Why is anybody even trying to uktagata la emgaqweni wonke umuntu that they can tagata? Why is that even a thing? Why? Because it changes people. My friend went from being the sweet, Guyana kind girl to mean, so mean that she was trying to sleep with my men. My ex-boyfriend became so mean that he went from being the trucker cap buying guy, like he proper was like that dude with the trucker caps. Because before I started dating my ex-boyfriend, one of the biggest things that made me even consider being with him was the fact that I had lost my phone, so I was basically phoneless, and he was asking my cousin for a phone. No, he was asking my cousin for my phone number, and my cousin was like, I don't want to phone type thing, and he said to my cousin, tell your cousin that I will buy her a phone and a SIM card just so I can contact her, and she doesn't even have to be with me. I just want to talk. And that really got to me. I was like, that's so sweet. Like, I was flattered. I was flattered. Yeah. He was the kind of guy that was prepared to do whatever it took for me, even if there was nothing in it for him. Yeah, and then he became the monster. He was one of the good guys, and then he became the monster. He was one of the good guys, and he became the monster. That's what witchcraft does to you. So love, peace, joy, gentleness, kindness, gentleness, kindness, long-suffering, self-control, goodness, and faithfulness. I've made mention of goodness, yes, just being a good guy or a good girl, just inherently sort of kind of moral. That like what witchcraft does also makes people that would never cheat into adulterers and adulteresses later on in life. when you get so embittered by your darkness that you cheat on a husband. Like with my ex-boyfriend, I never cheated on him throughout the relationship when we dated. But I am certain that if at all I had continued in the world, I was gonna get darkened, and somewhere along the way, inside a marriage, frustrated with a guy that I did not want to stay with because when I bring back lost lavara, and I was gonna end up cheating. I was gonna cheat. Like when you don't watch that which God has given you, it will get taken away from you, and even that which you don't have, you are going to establish. So if you are never the kind of woman to be sleeping with two guys at the same time, because I mean you've got a husband, you've got a boyfriend, like you can't be cheating. You will then end up having an affair, even though you did not do any such thing back in the day before you got married. You wouldn't cheat on a boyfriend, and yet here it is that you're cheating on a husband. You wouldn't cheat on a boyfriend, you are cheating on a husband. That's what witchcraft does. It changes personalities. That's what sin does. That's what calloused bitterness that is inspired in people's souls and hearts when they don't want to do a better thing does, ultimately in the long haul. So save yourselves from yourselves. Save yourselves from yourselves. So that's love, peace, joy, gentleness, kindness, long-suffering, goodness, love, joy, peace, gentleness, kindness, goodness, long-suffering, self-control. Long-suffering is the next fruit of the Holy Spirit, okay? Essentially just writing out, what do you call this? The Bible says that you must always endure evil patiently. You must always endure evil patiently, right? And when you endure evil patiently, you don't because evil is happening around you. Because wickedness is afflicting the living daylights out of you, you don't then, on that day, make a decision to eradicate your pain. Since you are enduring evil with evil, you don't eradicate your pain. Since, yeah, you get my point. Do you understand? Patiently endure evil. Some people are able to take a lot of rubbish in their stride and not be mean or calloused as a result of it. That's called long-suffering. It's forbearance. Do you understand? My older sister was like that. She had one of the most nefarious men in her life once upon a time. He was so incredibly mean that whenever my sister would touch him, he'd sometimes even be like, your body heat is burning me. And we couldn't even understand why she was with that guy. God, she was still such a darling, so sweet to everybody. She never used to fight this guy, not too much. All his horribleness, she took it in her stride. She was resilient. She was long-suffering. She took him in her stride. It was her husband, like a bit of not a stowaway, like they eloped. My mom didn't even know when she was staying in the US. She was a long-suffering wife, sticking around with a horrible husband that ultimately, in all of his mean endeavors, ended up cheating on her with one of her friends and a mutually known woman that we grew up with in our neighborhood. And he was so mean to her during the time when he was cheating that it was just frankly unacceptable. If anything, I was more like Solange. You know that scene, Solange with Beyonce in the lift where Solange is like scraping at Jay-Z? I was like that to this guy. In a way that my sister wasn't. She was a lot more calm. She was so calm. Up until it divorce yakon. Wachincha lo muntu after let divorce yakon. Why? Because she turned to the darkness. My sister was long suffering of a wicked man that she was married to. Very admirable fortitude in a marriage to a monster. Do you understand? Net divorce yakona that he filed for. She was very cordial. The whole arrangement of what you get since we were married in community of property, she was just so incredibly long suffering. And she had such fortitude in the midst of that. Guys, I was gonna like cell block tango, like murder. Like I told you, Uguti, I can be here. And I told you, Uguti, I lack gentleness to a certain extent. The natural version of me, the prior version of me before I became a Christian. Yeah, my ex-boyfriend however was gifted with gentleness. So type thing until I calmed down, because a gentle answer turns away wrath. That was not my skill or my gift, but it definitely was my sister's. She was long suffering and she was gentle. She was she had fortitude. It was just freaking admirable. It's the stuff Mbokoto women are made of. Unatile. Like, yeah, my sister was good at writing out a lot of emotional torture. Yes, like it. Yo, somebody will go end up in prison. I'm just saying, like, I was going to wear orange. The way that guy was so terrible. I'm sorry to have to say stuff like that. That's something that dwells inside me. So I guess that's the reason why God did not allow me to have a little bit of a buttock for a boyfriend. Right? Because dangerous. So this guy was America. I get to because this thing is banked as like a beast inside me. I have to subdue it under the Holy Spirit type thing. Very much in a way that my older sister just wasn't. She was a lot more temperate than me. Yes, like a lot more. I wasn't. Let's just put that out there. A hothead, that's me. That was me. So I guess it makes sense that I dated a guy on a chill hagana type establishment thing. Yeah, okay, cool. So seeing as that was the fortitude of my sister, it is such a travesty today that she became what under heaven it is that she became. It is a massive gargantuan travesty. My sister was a mediator between fights between my mom and I. When I was growing up, she took my course. She took my course because my mom was always weird towards me. Postpartum depression. I can see where it's along, but my mom's never liked me that much, and my older sister like basically took her place. She was an amazing woman on the come up. She was so admirable. There was just so much to look up to in my older sister when I was on the come up. There was a lot to look up to. And then she turned to the darkness, because that's just what happens when you get broken and shattered and then you decide to take matters in your own hands. When you have endured a lot of evil patiently, and then it gets to a point where you're like, why must I always get the short end of the stick? And then you take matters into your own hands. When then you decide in your anger to take out a squinch on some people, that's when your character changes, and so you stop being long-suffering. You stop patiently enduring evil, and then you become the opposite of that. That whenever you feel like somebody has done you dirty, then this time around, this time around you scrape them with darkness. This time around you come at them with ijuju. And so your character changes. You stop being long-suffering and you start being a menace to society. Even that which you don't have gets taken away from you. Even that which ungenayo iyathathwa nayo. That's just the way that this stuff works. That's how the Bible works. That's how exchanging pleasantries in the cosmos, like spiritual matters, operate. Gunjalo nje, guys. Yeah, you end up partaking in what you call a necessary evil, because that's why the Lord says vengeance is of the Lord. Leave room for God's wrath. It is mine to repay. She did not do that, and because she did not wait for God to repay her against that menacing, monstrous, beastly thing, I would imagine today he's already paying likely. Mara, you see that, like I said the other day, when you make yourself a perpetrator after being a victim, you forfeit your right to recourse in the sight of God. When you take matters into your own hands, you forfeit God's recalibration, God's recompense. What God does to give you justice, you forfeit it. Because in and of yourself, you've made yourself now he who or she who God must now avenge others against. And so you lose your ability to gain recompense, and for your enemies to be met with comeuppance. So she lost forbearance, she lost long-suffering. That which you don't have, even that little thing, izothathwa. Even that is going to get taken away from you. Not only do you lose your long-suffering that came naturally in you without even being born again, but you also now have got other character flaws that you never used to have. Even that which you don't have will get taken away from you. Let's move to the last part. I need to go inside the house to check what's going on, because everybody's out monitoring mega curfew.